Who wants people coming in from foreign countries?
I actually think it will not.
Who wants people coming?
Be a country no more.
We have to slam it.
I think people saw that loud and clear.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Getting it together. All right.
All right, let's just go for it. Hi. Where are we? There we are. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Sorry for the late start today. I was on Dean Obadala's show. He pre-tapes it for the Sirius show in the afternoon or like an hour late. I don't know how they do it. Anyways, we just finished it, and here I am. And yeah, it's just an hour of me. I'm sorry. But this afternoon, we'll have our regular show, and by God, are we going to have some great video, I have no doubt, and I'm sure CSL is already scouring the internet for it, of the apoplectic fits of specifically Fox Business, but everyone around it about the jobs report. Because well, before we get to that, hi chat room, hello. Thanks for the Johnny Million introduction. Hey, anybody I can introduce to Johnny Million, I feel like I'm doing them a service. Love you guys. Hour's good. Okay, excellent. Just the whinging, the wailing and gnashing of teeth. It's so good. It's so very good. So yeah, we're definitely riding with Biden today. And I gotta say, like, I put the other thing, hold on, let me move this up here. And then I think I have to do where is it? I put it in my text before, and it's a shame that I don't have it. There we go. Yeah, I'll put this in here. Okay. Take this guy down. There you go. Just have that. Now, if I could only make it flash. Today's one of those days. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those days, kids. All right. Just the big Biden boom. Big.
Yeah, boom.
That's right.
Boom, yeah. I
Big
understand
Biden
boom.
boom. Big
Bada boom.
Bada boom.
Big,
Big
big
Biden
bada
boom.
boom.
Big.
Big
Bada big boom.
Biden big boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah,
Boom.
big bada
Yeah,
boom.
boom.
Bada
Big
boom.
Bada boom.
Boom, big bada boom.
Mmm. Chicken. Good. Yeah, so this very upsetting in Trump world right now. Honest to fucking God, I'm almost impressed at this point that Glenn Beck can still make fucking videos about the economy. Ugh. Right? I mean, Trump, like, again, he's gone from we're in hell. It's the tubes of hell and helly tubes. We're in the tubes of hell. Why the hell tubes? Or what the hell tubes is going on here? And then, meanwhile, we've gone from going down the tubes to riding on the fumes, baby. Because it's a big bite on the boom. So that was a little too much. I apologize. No, I don't. Big Biden boom. So yeah. So those of you that haven't seen this yet, we got December's job report showed employers added 216,000 jobs for the month, while unemployment rate held at 3.7%. And people are like, how could that happen? How do you add that jobs? And then the percentage that's because that doesn't include people who are no longer looking for work, because wages went up as well, and you have more opportunities for people to be stay-at-home parents is effectively what that is. Statistically, there's a significant number of those folks that are affecting this outlay. That's all it is. This 3.7%. That's what's happening. And they fucking hate it. It's hilarious. The hiring boost came from a gain of 52,000 in government jobs and another 38,000 in healthcare-related fields, such as ambulatory healthcare services and hospitals. And by the way, they're counting these jobs as the infrastructure bill, because the states provide the funding from the infrastructure bill to go out of these things, or whatever, but they're for roads and bridges. These are Biden bridges. And by the way, we didn't need for the numbers to be good, we didn't need to add these jobs. This is just for infrastructure. Like this, you can make an argument that this paused, well, we'll talk about it a little bit, but the Fed's going to pause lowering the interest rates because the job numbers are so strong, even in these particular cases where we're talking about largely infrastructure stuff, which they shouldn't do because it's Volckerism is bullshit, but don't get me started. Average hourly earnings rose 0.4% on the month, and we're up 4.1% from a year ago, both higher than the respective estimates of 0.3 and 3.9%. Now, these, when you're talking about tens of millions of people, that's a hugely significant number. Check this out, though. Here's Biden coming into office. There he is. That's Biden entering office. There you go. 3.7%. Just you talk about it's a recession. It's stable as fuck is what it is. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, this is a good time. And, there's all these other, consumer confidence things that are starting to go up because, again, you don't, celebrating these things doesn't mean you're ignoring the people that are having difficulty. It's that you're solving the issues that will get them out of that difficulty. Because, again, the Biden system of bottom up and middle out solves a lot of the greater food insecurity issues that we have and poverty issues that we have. That's the only way you can solve it, because infusions of cash both A, won't solve it, and B, the states most of the time look at, Medicaid expansion and the like. Republicans in those states will run interference for it. What they really can't run interference on are actual job numbers. They will try, but they don't know how. And thank God. Okay. Well, unemployment held at 3.7. Let's see. Payroll growth showed a sizable gain from November's downwardly revised 173. October also revised lower to 105 from 150, indicating a slightly less robust picture for the growth in the fourth quarter. Right, which is like, again, it's a fucking wash. It's a wash. This is a good zone to be in. Here's how nuts this is. The fact that we're even arguing about the ups and downs of that when we were at that, right? That's the crazy part. That's what drives me crazy about all the economic conversations that you see, like this whipsawing of like, oh my God, feast and famine and terrible and all these huge, like the hyperbole around this shit, when in reality, it's humming. And you get it humming and you keep it there, and then you can start to really help the people who are disenfranchised, left out of the system. You can start educating people. You can start helping people grow out of, endemic poverty in a community or an area or, rural areas and inner city areas and that kind of stuff. That's how you do it. You fucking do it. Yeah. He raised it 1.1% and is giving illegals what? This is the argument. Is giving the illegals health care paid for by the taxpayer. No. No. That is not where the healthcare stuff is coming in. It's ambulatory services and that kind of stuff. It's all over the fucking country. They're not just like, oh my God, we have all these immigrants having heart attacks all of a sudden and they're getting bussed to a hospital. Doesn't work that way. Unless you're counting like Abbott's buses as ambulatory, right? Hi, Linda. Yeah, it's hilarious. Okay, so economists surveyed by Dow Jones had been looking for payrolls to increase 170,000 and the unemployment rate to nudge higher to 3.8%. A more encompassing unemployment measure that includes discouraged workers and those holding part-time jobs for economic reasons edged higher to 7.1%. And that increased in the real unemployment rate came as the household survey used to calculate that unemployment showed a decline in job holders of 683,000. So this is the big giant, like everybody involved, right? That's it. And again, job holders, there used to be a time in the United States, by the way, where we didn't count housewives, for example, as part of the workforce. The assumption was not only could they not obviously go to a job because they had children and they were taking care of children at home. And this is, this is not in deference to whatever stay-at-home dads there may have been in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and there certainly were. They weren't. There weren't enough of them where policy was dictated around them, and so the numbers used to be closer to that. Like, these people just aren't in the workforce; they stay at home. Now, you can stay at home and have kids and drop them off at school and pick them up, and you could be a stay-at-home parent while working from home. So you're still employed, but you're a stay-at-home parent. So you might be a contract worker, or you only do, specific jobs. You have an Etsy store or something like that, as opposed to an office job or a site work job of some sort, like construction or manufacturing or something like that. So yeah, it's pretty great. Oh, Dragon Rider, I'm glad it's your birthday month. You share it with David Bowie, who we're going to celebrate at the next Jam on Tuesday, and Paul Stanley. And I think Malcolm Young from AC/DC. Is he a January kid too? I think so. Labor force participation rate, or the share of civilian working age population either employed or looking for a job, slid to 62.5%, down 0.3% to its lowest since February, and down 676,000 on a monthly basis. The report, along with revision, and by the way, this is a rolling number of human beings. We talk a lot about on here about how homeless people, the fact that we even say the homeless is unhelpful. It does not solve the problem. It does not serve the problem in any way, because there are within people who find themselves homeless or end up homeless or choose to be homeless or insist on being homeless, like the Unabomber or something, that there's a huge group of people. It's not a tribe. They don't agree. There's not a constitution amongst the homeless. Like, there's so many variants of reasons why you don't have a home, that even calling it the homeless means that it's I don't know if it's too macro or micro a view, depends on, I guess, how you look at it, but it doesn't help. It does not help. Meanwhile, and there's a similar thing here with people who are unemployed, because there are people who are unemployed who are really looking for a job and can't find one. Those are the folks you hear about the most. Then there are people who say they are because they either get a subsistence from their parents or from the government or something, and they have to say they're looking, but they aren't getting something because I don't know if you know this, but like the punk movement in England kind of came out of the existence of the dole, the idea that you had to go look for a job or get a job, and the only way you could get on the dole is if nobody would hire you. Well, the easiest way to get nobody to hire you is to spike your hair out and pierce your nose and speak Cockney even if you're born posh, and don't wash your jeans ever, that kind of stuff. Basically be Vivian from The Young Ones, right? So there's that section of people. And again, are they, and they're not the same people forever. Like, the people pass through that phase and then out, and then they, after 8 months of that shit, they're like, okay, enough of this. Or they hum into that, oh, that's my wife's brother, he sleeps on our couch most of the year. Like that, there's that crowd, right? There's in and amongst this average rolling number, there's a variety of humanity, some of which you can help and solve, and some of which you cannot. And the goal, again, in governance should only be really focusing on the ones you can help, not the ones who choose to be beyond help. Nobody's beyond help, but some people choose to be beyond it, right, is the idea. And so that number is a rolling, it's not the same people. They almost like 676,000 people, like they're all in one city and they all wear the same hat. And they don't. And it's really hard to grasp when you talk in these kind of numbers. And you got to break it up. You got to go, okay, which, and that's what ultimately the government, both locally and federally, has to do. You got to go through, yes, Vivian Bastard, that's right. You have to go through, I guess, unemployment offices and people who are on Medicaid and ask, okay, why are you not getting a job? Do you want one? Can you get one? Or is it because of a disability? Is it because of something else? Is it, there's a myriad of reasons, right? Well, like, you don't quite qualify for this, but you can still look for a job, but nobody expects you to get one because you're not really skilled. We have a job training program. Would you be interested in that? Yes, I would. Okay, I dropped out of that because I didn't like it. Okay, fine. Well, then we'll look at another one for you. Like, that's how employment offices across the country are constantly dealing with the people who are on that periphery window. And there's probably, at any given time, 300 to 400,000 human beings in a variant degree of that are always there, right? And then the rest of them depends on market conditions and how the economy's doing and whether they choose to drop out of or go back to school, those kind of things. Now, and again, it used to be, by the way, that you went to college, only really like blue collar or upper, or lower middle class folks would have a job while in college. And everybody else would just get obviously kids who get a scholarship and that kind of stuff, that's not part of it. But when you're talking about, your average kind of like Ohio kid who goes to college, they'd have this job, and then they'd also be going to school because they'd work at a restaurant to cover it, right? That idea. And so is that person, if they don't have a job part of the time, is that person's not having a job an issue with the job market, or is it part of their focusing on their studies, or their parents pick up the slack for a little while, or they banked some money and they didn't have to do it, right? Yeah, Mark, that's, you know, that's what I'm trying to say. Like the Republicans have a real problem with the complexity of humanity. And you could argue that Democrats will sometimes get in the lost series of the over complexity of it, that we can become hyper vigilant about every possible variant, including the parts you can't solve. You know, because as bad as it is to not solve for X in the economic equation of what happened over the last couple of years, and when X is COVID and you're just blowing it off, it is also equally mathematically bad to insert other unknown variables as, I guess, as standard numbers in there, going, I'm going to assume Y is 10 times higher than it is. Because anecdotally, it feels that way. You see that, you know, I mean, that defines the QAnon crowd, ultimately. I don't know. I'm getting lost in the reads of this, but it's a fun conversation to have for me with myself, I guess. Nerd alert. So, let's see. 2023 job gains were 2.7 million, a monthly average of 225,000. Down from 4.8 million, 399 a month in 2022. And again, you know, still too hot for the Fed, right? Markets reacted negatively to the data. You don't say. You can tell that I'm reading articles from people in that are like, fuck, I thought they were going to lower the interest rates and I was going to be able to borrow money cheaper than working for it. Shit. Right? Stock market futures sliding and treasury yields sharply higher. That's just people going, fuck, they're not going to start bringing down the interest rate, you know, in March like we hoped. It's probably going to be April. They don't fucking know. No, and again, none of them are solving for the fact that COVID was a major part of this, for fuck's sake. Like, nobody. It's aggravating. It is fun watching, though, Maria Bartiromo and Kudlow flip the fuck out. That's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to this afternoon show in a way I haven't in a while, and I always look forward to it. So that should tell you something. There you go. Let's see. Year-over-year percentage change in average hourly earnings in all employees on private non-farm payroll since January 2022. That's the part where it's the rise in it. Look at how this looks. Percent change in average hourly earnings in the U.S. because it spiked up. These are all the bonuses, and then it established back to normal, and then it dipped down to around. This looks like 0. It's not. It's 4%. 4% is the bottom of this, and now it's at 4.1, which they thought was going to be 3.9. Right? You can even look at some of these charts, and you're like, you guys are fucking with me with these charts, right? Fed funds, mutual, who cares? All these guys panicking. Let's see. And then of course everybody else is like, these are the stocks to watch in 2024. Oh, you mean when we're in the tubes of hell? It's just funny. Meanwhile, let me go back to the chat room. Hi guys. Oh yeah, they are humans aren't illegals is what I said. Yeah, but that's like saying people who break into your house aren't burglars. Like, people need to get over the illegals word, because if you're in a country illegally, if I was in China illegally, believe me, they wouldn't have a problem telling me. It's not a humanity assumption. The difference is if somebody's calling an asylum seeker an illegal, that would be the distinction. And I think the Republicans don't bother to make that distinction. Does that make sense? Because you can illegally, economically enter a country and take advantage of their system. You know, other people certainly have. People do it in Canada all the time, right? Again, the weird part of it is like, no human being is illegal. Right. Okay. Well, then fine. I'll go, buy a mountaintop in some small, like, South American country for the price of a house in America and stake it out as my own kingdom. And people go, that's illegal. And I go, no human being is illegal. Like, I don't know why this is even an argument. Yeah. So I have, I got to show you. Hold on, I have to open this up. Get over here, you rat. I don't know why this page slides over like this. Get over here, you weirdo. Why is it? Okay. Scroll back down, I guess. There's no way around it. Yeah. I was trying to make the text on an article bigger, but it's got the block on the side for the ads, and it just won't do it. Grumble. I'm fine. I'm fine. Because of these jobs numbers. So, again, this means more people working and more people working from home and more people, if they don't want to work, not having to work because one paycheck is enough, which is, again, the Republicans used to be like family values Republicans. And all. Their idea was like, let's force women to stay home, or let's force the, a parent. They always meant women, but let's just, make it even and go. They want to force one parent to stay home and raise these goddamn kids. And you're like, yeah, but if you just build an economy that's better for the middle class, you don't have to force them to do it. Right? That's the thing. You don't. Yeah. Hi, Patty. What's happening? Good to see you. I will not give up on you, Peter. Fear not. Happy birthday, Sibby. Also, can I on a point of privilege, if I may, chat room. One of our regular sparklers, Pam Matthews, her husband passed away yesterday, and so from I don't want to speak on behalf of the mods and other folks that are regulars in here, but our condolences and much love. Sorry to hear that. So a big collective group hug, and hopefully when you're ready to get your laugh on again, I'll be here. So there you go. Yeah. So big hug to her and everybody in the family. There you go. So it's always a hard transition when we have a message like that and then back into what I'm talking about, because I'm a clown and that's part of my gig. But I have, let's see if I can find, yeah. So Fried AI is kind of like we've been distracted lately because I've been traveling in the holidays and we've had so much other stuff going on and all that. I wanted to, where is it? Yeah, let's go back there. That's the boring stuff. I don't want to overbore you. I want to show you two sides of the AI news. So here's what this is why I think in so many ways the conversation around AI is so hilarious. Here you go. So this is Forbes. 3 predictions about bad AI in 2024. And then on, I think this is TechCrunch. Sorry, where is it? No, I have it in here. Where'd you go? I moved it with my jobs report thing. Hold on one second. Go back to here. Oops, go back. There you go. Here's my BBC article that I had. Where is it? There it is. There it is. So this is 3. Here it is. Let me put this back up on screen. Sorry. So these 3 predictions about bad AI in 2024, and then AI in 2024. 5 trends workers need to know, and it's super positive, guys. It's super positive. It actually kind of is. There's some really pretty cool stuff in this article. We'll go back and forth and kind of try to like look at the difference in attitude. All right. So the first one is AI will encourage widespread inclusivity. I agree. What's your take of Cat Williams' interview on Shannon Shea? I have not seen it, so I cannot comment, but I don't mind looking. AI will encourage widespread inclusivity. Artificial intelligence is likely to become a powerful tool for workers with disabilities, and those advances could drive changes for all people. Totally agree. Totally awesome. The co-piloting, if you have a physical, intellectual disability, what have you, AI is a fad? No, it is not. That's like saying smartphones are a fad. It's not. And here's the thing. The people using or not using something like ChatGPT might feel like a fad to you. Behind the scenes, this is what's happening. This is all happening, and I'll point out why. Oh, Cat was super funny and interesting. Okay, good. I like him, so I hope so. Anyways, meanwhile, predictions about bad AI. All right, let's check with them. 1, misinformation will explode. Oh, you mean worse, like than it is now? You mean? AI is the best misinformation machine the world has ever seen, and it's getter better. Okay, this was, I don't know. Did you use AI to write this? Did you use an old version of ChatGPT before it's getter better? It's getter better. Is it better than human writers? Because I doubt it. It's getter better. But is it nutter butter? That's the question. Nutter butters. Cat's brutal fellow comedians who did dirt towards others. Good. So first of all, it's not, because while AI can create, fake videos and fake images and all that kind of stuff, ultimately the awareness that it even exists is making people not automatically trust pictures and video they see, which is a good thing. You know what I mean? One of the worst things that can happen to the misinformation on the internet is that everybody, because of AI, is like, all right, I'll wait and see till the whole thing comes out, right? Till all of it. I'm not going to trust this snippet of a video or this picture. It could very well be fake. You can see it in the number of people just going, is this fake? Is this fake? Is this fake about stuff? So it's, again, it actually helps because people will, in many ways, will assume because it's so possible, right? All right, hold on. Before I go to the next one, let's go to the good news. Let's go back to the number 2. AI will make hiring and layoff process more equitable. Well, I suppose they don't have to worry about somebody going postal if they get fired. If you're a robot, what are they going to do? Shoot the laptop that fired them? I don't know if that's the idea. Okay, human resource professionals are already prepared to use artificial intelligence in the hiring process to create more equitable hiring landscape, but the current technology is far from perfect. In response, academic and industry experts are working to reduce algorithmic bias on electronic hiring platforms and other HR tools through AI. Some experts are already prioritizing these goals. That's nice. The Higher Aspirations Institute, led by Cynthia Dwork, I knew a kid in Kentucky named Wayne Dwops. Just saying. Anyways, Cynthia Dwork, professor of computer science at Harvard. They haven't had a hard time lately or anything. With the president getting fired, the president of Harvard getting fired, and Jeffrey Epstein in a bunch of photos wearing a Harvard shirt, and like all the new photos that are coming out and some of the old ones. Yeah, that's good. And of course, Ted Cruz went there. So Harvard, you got to fix some shit. I mean, I know you gave us, Natalie Portman went to Yale. Never mind. I think you're fucked. All right. Beyond the hiring process, some companies, including global consulting firm Deloitte, are using artificial intelligence technology to retain talent. The firm is currently experimenting with using AI to be more effective, reallocate budgets, move workers to more in-demand positions, and in turn, stave off layoffs. This could particularly help marginalized groups who are often the targets of corporate cuts. Cool. That's good. That's right. Let's go back to the bad news. That's the bad. How bad can it get? Pretty bad. There you go. This is the next one. Number 2. Cheaters rejoice. But what's cheating? Okay, this is the idea that it's gonna do your homework for you. You know what it's gonna lead to? More oral exams. Hello. Watch it. Simmer down. But again, people who study for the test and pass the test but don't retain the knowledge, who traditionally have gotten ahead in a lot of academic circles without actually being able to kind of process the knowledge they have in some cases, that's got to go away, because you're going to have to get people to, tell you what they know as opposed to writing it and stuff. Has Al talked about Epstein yet? We went through the whole list yesterday. We went through the flight logs yesterday. If you want to check that out, go check out yesterday's after evening show. The flight logs came out and we went through a bunch of them. And I'll continue to go through them as they come out, because there's more stuff that's supposedly coming out on the 22nd or something. Yes. Behave yourselves. All right. And then there's only 3 of these. 3 bad and 5 good. Let's see. And the other one was, here it is. Employees want to work with AI and employers will invest in upscaling. Yep, that I would agree. So a a lot of people want to use AI. They see it and they're like, it's kind of sweet, but the fuck is it for? Right? Yeah, believe me, my eyes are blurry from reading some of the Epstein stuff that came out today. Believe me, it's a lot. A lot of it's the Jeffrey depots where she was she's being sued. I want to say that like Ghislaine Maxwell defamed her or whatever, so she pushed back, and this other reporter, like Maxwell, I don't know, like the back and forth of it's very strange, but the idea is that this one reporter was kind of feeding her stories or making, she was having one of the Epstein victims, and she is a victim, there's no question. She was in news stories, she was conflating what had happened to other victims with her and writing it all together. I consider being a college professor. I kind of feel like I am, Nathan. And yes, absolutely. My grandfather was one. Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. If they want a School of Hard Knocks, how to be a comedy guy. Right. So anyways, I don't know. I'll work on it. I'll work on what we're going to do this semester. Employees want to work with AI. Yes. And so a lot of people are just like, I'm so used to doing shit myself. And especially the most effective people at their jobs. I have a real hard time delegating. It's just never anything that I've incorporated into my life. I've always, I'll do it. By the time I show you, I could do it myself, right? I've lived that my whole fucking life. And in stand up and in acting, it's a show up and do the job kind of a thing. There's no passive income version of except maybe residuals, which go away, So for the most part, my job has always been hands-on. So I don't know quite how to outsource it. And in creativity, I feel weird outsourcing stuff. The only thing I feel like I could use AI for in my comedy, especially, or like maybe summarizing articles when I'm researching stuff. But even then, it's I find that the summarizing part is the problem. That makes sense. Like a lot of people read summaries of articles, and I'm like, did you read the fucking third paragraph? You understand? It's like I read the whole thing for a reason. Yeah. But in terms of, stand up for myself, like I've started my Wednesday show that I was doing at Flappers. We've now moved to the last Friday of every month, the 10 o'clock show. So it's late at night. And so I could be dirty. No. So, but it's also a Friday night, which is great. It's a, better night for audiences and that kind of stuff, which is great. It's very nice. And I was thinking because I could do the Friday Eye as part of that show. And like, I always improvise the show. I could do what I've done with like set list and make AI come up with a list of topics for me to talk about right as I go on stage so that I have no time to prep any of it. You know what I mean? You'll sprain your vocal cords doing the Alex Jones voice too much. Yeah, for real. Oof. Yeah. Oh, good, Carl. I'm glad it'll make it easier for you. That's great. It'll obviously make Saturday radio, the last Saturday of every month will be me doing radio in LA. So I'm going to have to fix that system there so that it's not all cattywampus. God damn it. I saw the video game, Doc Spano. Yeah, the Alex Jones one. Hilarious. All right. So, but the idea is that people are going to get trained because they don't know how to use it. And then there are going to be all these like, how to use AI for your job people. That's another career. With AI, how will you post your showstopper flappers? Yeah, well, I post the shows for our Patreon folks. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Mr. Overdose 101. Yeah, I didn't do the 9 a.m. show part of the show because I was on Dino Badala's show, and then I'm just doing this hour. If that's cool, then I'll see you guys this afternoon. But that's, again, and then AI regulation will continue to struggle to keep pace with technology. Yeah, because it's continue. That's adorable. That's fucking adorable. You can't it's like trying to regulate a cannonball as it flies through the air before, I guess, the principles of physics were known. You don't know the trajectory. You can't know the trajectory. You've got you've got to tap it in the right. It's like you're running alongside a cannonball trying to tap it into the direction you want it to go. That's what it is. That is the equivalent. Yeah. So yeah. I will. Here's the other thing too, and I'm curious about this with you guys as well, because here's um I think the big thing about AI will be garbage in, garbage out. I'm doing radio in LA last Saturday of every month without replacing CPT. No, I'm just doing it from LA instead of from here and at the house. And so it's just the technology at the house in LA isn't very good. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, the Skynet Regulation Act. Yeah, mid Terminator while it's printing out the body parts. Yeah. So the issue will be, and I think one of the growth industries will be data collection. Not just like, people figuring out what people's buying trends are and shit like that, but like metering technologies, right? Hal will make it up, but Hal is human. He has to eat rest and sleep. Yes, it's true. Unfortunately, sleep is the enemy, as Danko Jones has told us many times. What happens if AI goes woke? Well, that's what. By the way, that's how they're reacting. The Glenn Becks of the world that's how they're reacting to this article. To them, this is AI going woke because what? Encourage widespread inclusivity? Dear God, you mean I have to compete with people that look different from me? I barely can compete with the people that look like me. The fuck? Now I gotta compete with the best of everybody else when I'm not even the best of my own kind? Which is really what that panic attack is, let's be honest. That's every time you see somebody flip out about that, it's like they come over here, they don't speak English, they take our jobs. You're like, wait a minute, your job can be taken by somebody who doesn't speak English? Dude, I'm just saying, you can do your job without talking? That's amazing. I'm just saying, it doesn't sound too much like skilled labor the way you put it. I don't know, right? And then, of course, equitable. Fair. Fair's all commie. Look, every time we turn around, Republicans are taking a relatively normal word about people getting along and working together and that kind of stuff and just turning it into communism. Like everything they do. Liberal, they spent all this time, fucking decades, making liberal a 4-letter word. And then what? Then they're like, where are the old-fashioned liberals? Like, motherfucker, are you out of your mind? Most of us took the word progressive because I think to your average Democrat, progressive, when it first started kind of showing its head as a label, meant Star Trek liberal. I'm a liberal where I hope one day we have a Star Trek-like existence. You know what I mean? Where we have replicators and all that kind of shit. And until then, we're all try to everybody try to pull a little more than your own weight. That's all I ask. Right? Yes, regular progress. Unfortunately, they knew, a lot of quote unquote people who call themselves progressives, unfortunately, are anti-progress, which is very strange. Like the TYTs of the crowd of the world. They called me the Hal Sparkses of the world, so I appreciate it, and I'm returning the favor. The Young Turks of the world, not the ones that murdered the Armenians, obviously. Just the ones who took their name from the people who murdered the Armenians. Anyways, those folks, I don't know why they seem very grift-gressives. That seems a lot. I like faux-gressive myself because you are pretending to be for progress and yet you don't want it. Like any chance at it, you're like, if we don't get everything, nobody gets anything. Stomp, stomp. You're like, fuck off. So I like many of you, believe in actual progress. Yeah. Does that make Republicans the Borg? Yeah, except you can resist them. And conservatism is based in a bit of you can think of them as almost social Luddites. But again, when you're making liberal and conservative bad words, conservatives were, if liberals are the gas pedal, conservatives are the brake pedal, and you can't drive a car properly without both. Movimiento es vida. Movement is life. And so, but if you crash because you're all gas pedal and no brake, and you're just randomly blazing down the road, you'll miss all the signposts that say you might be going in the wrong direction. Yeah. Like anti-fascists are fascists? Yeah, so that's the problem. No, anti-fascists aren't fascists. Antifa, people who identify that or have their flag oftentimes are, which is very weird. Like, they're like, we need to burn down this whole system. Like, isn't that what the fascists did so that they could take over? You mean so that you can put your people in charge? And yeah, like that. Okay, well, explain to me how that's different from fascism. I'm not quite sure. Again, just look at the Chaz and the Chop, right? The wokening is coming. Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a leather fetishist. What in the world, Ray? I love you. Is a fart woke? Well, you can wake someone up with one. I mean, don't try, but if it happens, it's not your fault. Yes, progress happens inch by inch. I agree. Yeah. I'm a proud incrementalist. I like change that sticks. Yeah? Does that make sense? I don't want, I don't need to fucking whipsaw society back and forth. Right? Not helpful. It's like bringing a trampoline to the edge of Mount Kilimanjaro and going, I'm going to bounce my way to the top by going all the way up and all the way down and all the way up and all the way. Eventually, the trampoline's going to fucking break. True climbing, true, covered ground requires a lot of work. Yeah, I've been, and it's, yeah, proud incrementalist is not a bad thing, Anybody who goes to a gym regularly or tries to maintain a decent diet knows this, right? And conservatives, I suppose, should understand the analogy. Think of all the CrossFit people who injure themselves, who fucking, fuck themselves up really badly, wrench their back or whatever. That's the that's them being too liberal in their workout. All gas, no brake. Right? And then there are other people who are barely doing anything, right? To the point where it's barely activity. So they're not changing their physical health. They're not maintaining it. They're not getting stronger, any of that stuff. So they're too conservative in their workout, right? And that sweet spot where you work hard enough to make genuine progress, but you don't injure yourself, that's the window. I think everybody can understand that. Yes? 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 Right? It's, and it's the same thing with like, diet. A certain amount of salt is necessary. Too much salt's bad for you, right? If you eat 6 tablespoons of it, it'll fucking kill you. But a certain amount of it is necessary in your food and in your body, so much so that the Romans used to pay soldiers in salt. That's where the phrase, he's worth his salt comes from. The excess in moderation, right? If I don't lose 100 pounds in one day, I'm not going to diet next day. That's exactly right. That's the TYT model. It's all lap band and, bariatric surgery and fen. And if that doesn't work, then fuck it. My 1,000-pound life, right? And it's not just them. Republicans do this as well. We can't have Donald Trump, being a complete fucking pig and screaming at everyone and just being a lunatic and going for like the basest stuff. Then getting the rest of what we want in moderate levels isn't worth it. I don't want some half-assed Republican that gets the Republican priorities actually voted on, passed, and signed into law. Fuck that, right? It's the same thing. Their fringes are the exact same. TYT model is bariatric surgery. It totally is. I mean, revolution is the 6-minute abs of democracy. Anybody who has a functioning government and who's using revolution, except in like the most poetic terms, is an asshole. Because revolutions are like coups. They're bloody and horrible things. If you need an actual revolution, you're in deep shit. And if you say you need a revolution over a coffee in an air-conditioned coffee house in a first world country, you're a special kind of an asshole. Yeah. Sorry, look at what MLK said about what? I missed that one. It scrolled by too fast. I missed it. about the moderate. Okay. I mean, I would tend to lean more towards the Buddhist concept of the middle way, right? Right on, John. Well, at least you can admit it. Hey, that's all right. Yeah. We all want to change the world. Yeah. Well, again, the Beatles were a band that sang about peace and getting along with everyone. And why can't we all just get along and all you need is love? And they broke up. The Beatles couldn't do it on an interpersonal level. There's kind of something dickish about that. I love the Beatles, but it's kind of fucked up, don't you think? Isn't that weird? Proud nihilist here. You can't be proud of being nihilist. It goes against the entire thing. You can't be proud and a nihilist. What's there to be proud of? There's nothing. We believe in nothing, Lebowski. Nothing. Thank you, 56 Nick Rich. Appreciate it. Right. We're all different humans, Al. This is true, but we don't vary in our differences as much as we might think. Once again, shit anecdotes. Okay. Love is all you need, unless you're Paul. And yeah, always get a lot of hate on TYT when I talk about common sense and moderate ideas. Yeah, because it's against the business model. Their business model is like division and rage and stuff. And I catch it too. I get it all the fucking time, from that crowd. You don't want anything good. I'm like, all right, well, the guys I voted for are the ones who are making all the actual progress. The guys you voted for either can't break 30% nationally, and therefore I guess they need to work on their communication skills if their ideas are fantastic, right? That would be the thing. All right. If your ideas and your systems and your policy positions are that great, then maybe you just suck at communicating. Maybe work on that shit, because the yelling at everybody and telling them that they're monsters if they don't go your way might be the problem. Maybe that is it. Maybe you're the one fucking it up, right? If 70% of American people want something and yet we don't have it, maybe it's because of assholes like you making it sound awful. It's like the conservative Christians who are like, they're trying to drive God out of the schools and we've lost our way. Like, well, that's because you represent the church and you're a fucking asshole. You're a terrible example of a Christian. You're miserable. You don't trust God's plan. You're always bitching that the devil's on the march and's kicking your ass and destroying the world and we're on the edge of it. Never mind the fact that your book says that has to happen for Jesus to come back. So I don't know why you're not celebrating. That's always weird. But on top of it, like, why would I want to go to church if it's full of dickheads like you? You're the problem. If church attendance is going down, blame the preachers and the people that they send out into the world. Because you guys are setting a fucked up example of what Christianity means then. Same thing applies to the faux-gressive, neo-progressive, whatever the fuck you want to call them, left-wing, self-identified Marxists or, sock dems or any of that shit. They're assholes, by and large. So if the idea is that good, and if the system would actually work, then the only reason it's not catching on is because you don't know how to communicate it. Maybe you should shut the fuck up. Maybe you should let somebody else sell it, because you absolutely shit the bed in growing your constituency for that idea. Right? I mean, go back and look at what they were saying about Medicare for all, for example, which, again, sounds like a great plan. It's effectively, the public option is a buy-in and then making sure that it's always available if people fall below a certain point. It's not hard to do. We have public schools and private schools. We have police, and you can hire private security if you want to, right? We got to both. Why can't we have that with insurance? That seems simple enough. Just do it. And then if the next step is actually we got enough money left over from this other stuff because we don't have to worry about healthcare anymore, we can build our own hospitals and that kind of, fine, get there. But the fact that your kind of all or nothing attitude has kept any of it from moving forward. And the one thing that did, which was the Affordable Care Act, you guys spent so much time attacking it. Half of its negative rating was from people who wanted more than what it gave. And so the Republicans use that as a way to attack the fucking thing and undermine it for years. At a certain point, because I got to say, I love you guys. Is that Hassan guy related to Cenk? Yes, that's his nephew. Hamas Abi? Yeah, the dude who's like who says that babies in Israel are as guilty as the adults, and therefore if you chop them up, they're invaders, so they deserve it. Yeah, that guy. The guy who says America deserved 9/11. And by America, he means the 3,000 people that were in the fucking tower that died, and the dude who had to jump to his own death rather than burn to death. That guy apparently was his whole, from the moment he was born, his life was on a trajectory to pay the debt of I guess, Ronald Reagan. Get the fuck out of here. Just gross. Anyways, Hal talking Hassan on Twitch, Worlds Colliding. Yeah, well, he's bound to come up occasionally because he's such a fucking chimp. It's so weird. Anyways, point I'm trying to make is that if your idea is great and if it hasn't made any real progress, then maybe it's your fault. And I, who have been pitching incrementalism, if you'll know, forever, a pragmatic voter who believes in real progress. I don't deify my leaders, so I don't get disappointed if they're human. I don't have to agree with them on everything, and I also don't have to pretend I have the same information they have, but my judgment is strong enough that I know that the people that I have voted for have done a damn fine job while in office, and that the people I voted against did all of the most awful shit that's happened since I've been a voter. All of it. My guy, this time around, got an infrastructure bill passed that's responsible for the lead pipes on a trajectory to be taken out of the entire country over the next decade. As everything is filtered through, that money is sitting there, and that money will be used to remove those lead pipes, leading to health improvements and safety for a myriad of people, not just low-income people, but every American eventually. That's important. That one thing, the number of lives saved by that one fucking thing, that one priority is worth it. And there's still a myriad of other things, and that's my fucking dude. Why the fuck would I be ashamed to vote for Biden? Are you out of your goddamn mind? Why? Because I didn't vote for the dude who, or the lady, or whomever, who, yells and gripes all the time, but can't convince people outside their tiny little circle that any of it would even happen in the first fucking place. Never mind the fact that whether the idea is good or not, they haven't been able to sell that shit at all. But that they could even implement it if it was. Fucking boggles my mind. I don't get it. You can lead a horse to water, but a pencil must be lead. It's true, and that's why the pen is mightier than the sword. But unless you need to sign a contract. So yeah, it is bizarre to me, this fucking coin flip attitude, and between TYT and KK Kalinske and Hamas Abi and all these motherfuckers going, I don't understand why okay, let me give you an example. The organization that they put together, like the Justice Democrats, kicked Cenk out. And it wasn't even because, oh wait, you're the guy who used to do spot the camel toe on fucking TYT back in the beginning. Any remarks on Israel killing children and babies? Sure. Those are collateral damage caused by Hamas. Those deaths are on Hamas. They won't let people evacuate, and that's on them. Eat shit. There's a difference between telling people you're going to hit a building, warning everybody for multiple days, and then finally doing it. And the Hamas keeps people trapped in that building on purpose when they had plenty of time to clear out, and then literally breaking down a wall, running into any area you could find. And if you find some kids there, chopping them to pieces or throwing a baby in an oven. Yeah, there's a difference. There's a huge difference. Unless, of course, you think that, for example, people should get capital punishment for DUI. Because you're saying the only difference between a serial killer and somebody who was drunk and drove into a truck, that they didn't leave the party intending to run into anybody, they just did, that they're the same. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like, sorry, I have to scroll this forward because I let you. Oh, how shit isn't. Obama would have gotten a hell of a lot more done if the GOP didn't break the filibuster record, but the ACA and the Dodd-Frank alone were positively historic. Absolutely. And they've got legs. Yeah. So forget you're feeding a baby formula. You want to make sure that formula is good. TYT is, has lead in the formula. Right. Yeah. If Israel is convicted of war crimes, wouldn't that change your position? If Israel is convicted of war crimes, Israel is going to be convicted of war crimes. Israelis might. There might be IDF soldiers who commit war crimes, and they should be convicted if they are. But Israel won't. You know why? Because if you fire rockets from a hospital, it becomes a legit target in war. They know this. Because again, here's what I'll present to you. You are walking with your family. Work with me on this. Try to grasp this idea. You are walking with your family, and a 14-year-old with a gun draws down on you. A 14-year-old boy draws down on you with a gun. You're with your family. You are armed. You are also armed. Do you have a moral obligation to let him shoot you and your family? Because he's 14. I don't think a 14-year-old is culpable. I think more than likely someone either put them up to it, or they're absolutely innocent in that regard because they are a child. However, do you just get shot and allow your family to be shot? What do you mean not with weapons? What do you mean not with weapons? Someone has a human shield, you say shoot the human shield? No. I'm saying you give them time to remove the human shields. If they don't do it, that you don't continue to give them a place where they can constantly fire rockets from. They know this. Oh, is there an earthquake? Again, you're splitting hairs about the difference between battles and buildings and groups of people who want to eradicate a type of human from the earth. It's a very distinct difference. This is the way it'll always work. This is the way it'll always work with me. If you have two parties that are fighting, and if one side drops their arms, they will be destroyed. And if the other side drops their arms, there will be peace. I'm for the side of the ones who would be destroyed in that case. And you don't have to agree with me. Yeah. But that's it. Yeah. And again, the idea that that anybody is handling this like a coin flip. Hal's never worked with gangs. You're right. I have never worked with gangs. What does that mean? No holds barred with a pineapple, right? There's no good side in this conflict. Let's be abundantly clear. At the root of this, I personally think the idea that there are magic rocks is fucking stupid. That anybody or any place on earth is more precious than any other is ridiculous. And if that's the root of a war, that is your problem. That is the only solution. The only solution in this situation is is that real religion or spirituality beats out superstition, or people just decide to live secularly. Yeah, the Temple on the Mount, for example, Jerusalem as a magical place, as a historic religious site. The same thing with Mecca and Medina or whatever. That any spot on earth is more holy than any other spot is an absurdity. And if that's what you're fighting over, this is very different than if you're fighting over resources or land or water or any of the myriad of reasons why humans fight over different places throughout the globe, right? Because you could solve for those materially. You can go, okay, this side doesn't have enough food, this side does. They're trying to take the land from this folk so they can have more food. Or, all right, well, there's a way we can come in there and make sure there's enough food for everybody, right? Does that make sense? You can solve that. Same with water. You can legally work out water rights and that kind of stuff and or put in desalinization plants and those kind of things. But once you're fighting over a couple of groups who think that these rocks where I'm standing are more important than any other rocks in the world, that's your problem. And you won't solve it until then. No two-state solution is going to solve it. No one-state solution is going to solve it. It's going to be this way. And the same thing is true between the Sunni and Shia about Mecca and Medina and the Saudis versus the Iranians. That shit is a big part of what's going on down there beyond even the Israeli conflict. As long as people go, these are the most important rocks, or this is the most important site on Earth, and if it goes away, that means war. The rest of the world has to go away. Once you're dealing on that level, that's the fucking problem. The USA loves its rocks more than anyone else. What? I don't know what that means. Explain, please. How about a 3.14, a pi solution? Right. 4.4 quake. Oh, well, wake me up when 4.4 is easy. That's probably an aftershock from the Japanese quake, actually. Or, a rolling effect of the tectonic plates from that. What sounds racist? The part about America loving its rocks more than other people? I indeed do love rock and roll. I got your magic rocks right here. Mikhail confused on his own. So yeah, well, there's a lot of conversations going on here, so it's hard to. Hal doesn't listen to what he says. What did I miss? I'm sorry. Do I believe that? I forgot. You're right. Everybody. You guys are gonna show up to my pilgrimage, right? When I move up I start my own wild country cult up in Oregon. We're just gonna start like a little bit east of, a little bit east of Portland. Is that cool? Just gonna no poisoning of the salad bar though. That rule is right out. We're gonna create our own. I'm gonna rebuild a freshly built temple on the mountain on that site and bless it. With some Jesus tears that I have I've been keeping in a jar for a little while. Don't ask me where I got them. It's none of your goddamn business. And I'm going to pour it on the ground, and that suddenly is going to be magic. And then we can, whatever. Yeah. Yes, we definitely have golf carts. Yes. But you have to pray to your golf cart before you get in it every time. Please be charged. Please be charged. Please be charged. Whatever, Please, someone make sure that Carl and CSL and Hal remembered to brush the leaves off the solar panels so the golf carts are charged again, because last week they didn't, and they were busy at the pizza party and they fucking forgot. And so please be charged. But yes, you're gonna have to. Everybody will have to do that. I'm kidding, CSL. You would never forget to clean up the solar panels that charge the magic golf carts in our cult land. Yeah, Tara Dublin will be the queen of it. I'm not going to run it. What are you talking about? I'm going to be the weird Rasputin behind-the-scenes guy. I'm going to grow a big, long beard and walk along in a robe, You know what? Fuck it. Fuck walking. I'm going to be on a hoverboard, but it'll be below my hanging gown so that everybody will think I'm floating. Yes, bring cans of soup, bags of soup. We eat soup from a bag. Yes, Oregon burnt to the ground, so we're rebuilding it. That's why it's rebuilding. Has Hal ever done a show in the world famous Apollo, New York? I have not. Have I? I did an event there once. I didn't do a show there. Yeah. We'll build our own Blarney Stone from scratch. That's right. I'll be the new Rajneesh. Yes, bags of milk. Everyone, raise your bag of milk, and we will do the popping. Yeah. Yes, it's my cult, but I'll have someone else run it. Because isn't that how you do a real cult? You know what I mean? Don't you want somebody else to be the front of it so they could take all the shit, and you could just be like, if anything goes down, you could just hop in the Learjet that you've got parked in the barn that you make 10 of the most profound followers polish all the fucking time, like Scientologists or something. And it just opens, has a rolling like you'd have to hide the landing strip, so it would just roll out like that, and you just fly off to South America with all the gold bars that are still stamped with cuttery symbols. Oh yes, and definitely with a harem, absolutely. But yeah, that's honest to God. I think I did already. I have some experience with a cult. I know what the fuck I'm doing. Yes, this is true. The Malarkey Stone. I love that. We need to go. There needs to be a in Delaware. They need to actually have a monument called the Malarkey Stone that people can just touch it, and you're allowed to say whatever bullshit you believe. Like the dumbest thing, you just touch it, and if you touch the Malarkey Stone, you can just put your hand on it and say your most like unpopular take. Right? Just yeah, and it's shaped like a kidney. Why would it be shaped like that? Okay. The kidney stone is totally different. That's not the, yeah. So, but yeah, that's honest to God. You will have, the only way we solve most of the Middle East's problems, I gotta say, there's two ways. One is end our functional use of oil. If you can't pull the oil out of the ground in your own country, do something else. We need to move to renewables as soon as fucking possible everywhere, but to do it in a speed that doesn't end up killing 1 billion people. Yep. Sorry, somebody was saying how your surface positions on nationalized healthcare and Israel's military response to terrorist attack is to the right of the left's general popular opinion. Still funny, natural. Not the general left. I would argue the hardcore left. I won't call them radical because who's radical, but no. Being supportive of the ACA and there's difference between being in support of Israel's ability to have a military response and how they carry it out. Right? There's a difference. Their right to do it and their ability to do it and the seriousness of it and not treating it like, well, it's team sports, because if it's going to be fair, to be fair, then I think, Israel should have just sent, if you were talking about proportionality, Israel should have just sent in a team of rapists. Does that work out for everybody? That's how you do it? Okay. So, and again, most densely populated place on earth, right? Gaza. Israelis have dropped more bombs than casualties. 24,000 bombs, some of them, hundreds of pounds, less, 20,000 casualties. And according to Hamas, they're all women and children. Everyone's a civilian. No one's, even if they have a rocket launcher in their hand and they're a grown man, get the fuck out of here. There's no such thing as indiscriminate bombing where you drop 24,000 bombs and kill 20,000 people. That's not how that works. But again, the issue is this is going to go on back and forth for as long as people believe some rocks are more important than others because they're magic. Because one day someone's magically going to come back and it won't encompass the entire world, that their faith is so fucking narrow. Kyle Kalinske seems to think Biden wants war in the Middle East. Yeah, that's because he's an idiot. He's also frankly, and I don't say this about everybody, just always seems to be on the side of whoever's killing Jews. Because again, he doesn't give a fuck about Sudan. That's my point. Like, none of these assholes. You see TYT running stories about fucking what was happening in Sudan starting in May or April of this year? No. That's horseshoe theory, Michael, and it's hard to say. How far do you have to move left before you become right? About that point, yeah. Yeah. Is it really, though, that they really care? Huh? I don't. Is it really that, though? Do they really care about Israel versus Palestine? No. They don't. The root is about who has the right to call a place home and who gets to make that decision. I agree, but the home is related to this religious site. Because I would say that post-World War II, the United States and the vast majority of Europe, for all the modern, campus anti-Semitism and shit that we've seen and the kind of growing seed anti-Semitism you see in part, as a society overall, though, Jews are welcome in the United States and they're not going to be driven out. There's no situation where even Donald Trump, who's the closest thing to a fascist leader we've had, still, his wife married a Jewish man and converted. Their children are being raised Jewish. Like, it's not the same, and it never will be. Not in the United States and Europe ever again. It's something you got to watch out for. You can't take it for granted, right? I don't know. It's not post World War II guilt. I think it was just an establishment of that. Like, there's a standard. There's a difference between, I don't like what you believe about my religion and you don't like what I believe about your religion, but we tolerate each other and I'm not a fan. So if it won't be nice if we meet, but I'm not going to pick a fight with you. And you're being slaughtered overseas. That shit's got to end, because there's a difference in a liberal democracy between the kind of disagreements, the scale of disagreement you can have with somebody about an ideology or a religion or something like that. And then when another country goes, oh yeah, we agree. We disagree with, we don't think their way is the way, so we're going to round them up and torch them. America and the Europeans drew the line at that, and rightly so, and still do. He called his daughter his wife. He'd be proud of you. No. Jared's wife she converted to being a Jew. So I mixed the two of those people up that I jumped past saying Jared enough times. But yeah. But again, you're right. I think they have a major asteroid or nuclear war. The Earth will be around another 4,000 years, is my opinion. So any time travelers out there, let me know. Yeah, the world's not going to end. We're going to keep getting better, and we're going to operate in fits and starts, and we're going to have, old systems try to rise up and get one last swing at it, and they're going to fail. And it's how it's moving. It's how it's going to keep moving, period. The Gordian knot, again, Paul Young, I would argue that the Gordian knot of the Middle Eastern conflict is based on the idea that there are sacred areas, period. And I frankly don't believe there are. I believe the earth is entirely sacred, or it's not at all. That God is in everything, or he's nowhere. And so, I've often said that I believe in three gods. The God of loving kindness, the God of lessons, and the God of completely random bullshit. And the third one is there just so you don't know the lessons are coming and get a jump on them so you actually learn them. You need some people to go, I think everything happens for a reason. No, if everything happened for a reason, you wouldn't even have a decision-making process. You would just follow whatever happens in your life like a fucking cat following a laser pointer. You wouldn't have free will. You just go, okay, I guess this is the next thing then. Oh, somebody's at the door. I think I'll marry this person, right? It's a sign. They were, they had a bird on their hat. I like birds, so I followed them home. What the fuck are you doing here? I just like your lawn. Like, get the fuck out of here. The god of completely yes, the god of metal is, well, that's a human being though, and it's arguable who that is depending on who you are. Can we talk about Republicans? Yeah, sure, absolutely. We do most of the time, as a matter of fact. As a matter of fact, I went overtime, and I will be doing it today, later on this afternoon. House punchy. I am not. It's hard to chase the chat and mix conversations, especially around really heavy topics, because people can read something I said about my response to what someone else said as my response to what they said and think that I'm either dodging a question or I'm, shifting blame or doing those kind of things, and don't listen to it in a holistic way, in the way I'm discussing things. And I think, if anything, let me just boil it down to the simplest of ways. Rob Halford is the metal god. I could argue for that, and I think it says a lot about heavy metal that our metal god, if not one of our metal gods, but certainly one of the main ones, is gay. Fucking A right, metalheads. We don't give a fuck. You do you. That's the thing about metal, man. We don't yuck anybody's yum. I'm just not gonna dance to that other shit. So, yeah, I don't dodge questions, Julie. As a matter of fact, I don't dodge questions because I'm trying to go back to the other question I saw. No, he's not the only one. I mean, it depends on if you feel like songs like Great King Rat or let's see, whatever. I mean, there's a few. Yeah, there's a few Queen songs that qualify as metal, and there might be other ones too. It doesn't matter. But the one, yeah. Biden lost end of my country. What? Biden lost end of my country. I don't know what that means. If he loses, it's the end of your country? Oh, I don't know what that means. It's weird. It's a strange sentence. Okay. Finally, there's a report that Trump's tools what? Oh, the bribes from China. I know, they're finally getting around to that. We'll talk about this afternoon. I don't want to get too far ahead. Right. So anyways, if I can sign on this, yeah. Helter Skelter. I would say that's a metal song. Sure. I think the Motley Crue version of it certainly makes it qualify. Metal has changed over the years bigly. I don't know. I mean, throughout time, it's always been kind of androgynous, right? Dudes with long hair. It's so fucking weird that the very people who follow Jesus and are all about, like, they go to a church with a dude with a long hair guy shirtless on a fucking cross, all around them. And then I grow my hair and they're like, gay. Like, it's so stupid. My son and I, because he's got long hair too, we get misgendered in public nonstop. Dear God, during the mask wearing, when we were traveling, we had, when we were wearing masks, but for fuck's sake, like all the time. And like, not an issue, but, oh, thanks, Pokey. I appreciate that. But yeah, they're like, hold on. I will say, I don't blame anyone if I get misgendered. I just take it in stride, and I let them know, and everybody's really nice about it. I will say this. My son was like, and I'll leave you with this thought. My son was like, every time somebody misgenders me, just for the clarification, my son is not trans. He is a biological boy, just has long hair. And he goes, every time somebody misgenders me, they're so loud about it. They just say it so loud. And because it's just like, it kind of embarrasses him a little bit. Because whenever anybody makes a big deal about him in public, that does it. But also, so he, and I was like, wait, look at the bright side. The reason that they are doing this, the reason they're so loud about it, is because they want people to be aware that they are aware of possibly misgendering someone, and they want other people around them to know that that they apologize. They're showing the crowd around you and other people. That's why they're being loud about it. This isn't about you. They don't go, "Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I'm sorry." You know, they don't want you to feel like if you were trans or something else, they don't want you to feel like you should be ashamed. So they proudly want to say it. And they say it a little loud. And they might be quote unquote virtue signaling, but it's a good sign. It's nice. They're trying to be nice, not just to you, but to the people around that might be in earshot who this might happen to. Cool. I mean, look at the bright side. Beats the alternative where they're like, "Oh, I thought you were, oh, all right." In which case, meta. Hal, it's because you're not a snowflake. This is true. I do not believe that I am unique and special because of my very nature. That I do not believe I was born special. I believe I was lucky to be born. And so mathematically, it is very strange that I'm alive and kind of amazing. It's a miracle that I'm alive. It's a miracle that any of us are alive. As you look at the just kind of mathematical possibility of your existence, I think that's fucking incredible, right? But I don't think it makes me a snowflake. I think you have to work to be unique. I think being unique takes cultivation. Otherwise, you're just an act of habit. And even if the habits look different from other people's habits, you're just a habitual beast. And I think that's your responsibility. And I also don't think it's anybody's responsibility to sift through all the junk in my personality to get to the good stuff. Asking someone to do that makes you an asshole. If I have parts of my personality that need to be cleaned up so people can find the diamond in the rough, that's not their job. Other people shouldn't have to carry the weight of seeing the light or the good in me because I'm not showing it. Eat shit. That's my fucking job. Right? On that note, I love you. See you later. Hey, Adam Westish, fiction can save lives. You're welcome.